Hey there, folks. Hope you're doing well today. Okay, I want you to close your eyes. Imagine you're part of the dumpster fire known as the Republican Party. In fact, you're Nancy Mace. You're going on the news. How do you put what the Republican Party is doing in a good light? How do you put the Trump administration's accomplishments in a good light? Oh, the life of a professional turd polisher. Let's check it out.
What do you think the most important message is that he can deliver right now with the looming midterms months away? And you know where Democrats are trying to, of course, find some of the weaker points to attack the right.
Right. The cost of living is huge on voters' minds right now. And the president had 2 quarters last year where GDP grew more than 4%. Wages were up by 1% or higher. We're seeing massive growth, manufacturing coming back to states like South Carolina. That is a major win for the president. Inflation is getting under control. He's doing all of those things. Also, he's keeping our communities safer and law and order and deporting the worst of the worst, the rapists, the pedophiles, the murderers. He's doing that. So he's a lot to count on and that we can hear about tonight in all of his successes in his first year.
Okay, so I like how the reporter starts by talking about the looming midterms. Like, you better watch your ass, it's coming for you. But what does Nancy Mace talk about? She talks about GDP growth, inflation coming down, wage growth, all the things that people care about, and all the things no one is experiencing. And so what we're going to see is just Donald Trump continuing to betray his base over and over again, then tell them up is down and down is up. And if you don't like Donald Trump, then you're just fucked up. But she goes on to talk about how Donald Trump is keeping communities safer. And the metric she uses to measure that has to do with the number of pedophiles and rapists. And this is at a moment when America has shown zero accountability for anyone in the Epstein files. No charges have been filed. But again, just another day in the dumpster fire. Let's see where they go next.
So tariffs shot down by the Supreme Court, at least the one of the ways he can use them, the emergency ones. He'll be looking at the Supreme Court justices tonight as they are there. But there's also a role Congress perhaps can play with extending them. We know that FedEx is suing the United States government. They want their money back. But Speaker Johnson doesn't think they'll be able to find somewhat of a coalition to extend them. The most recent ones expire in less than 150 days. I guess, Congresswoman Mace, where I'm going is, will you support codifying some of the tariffs in Congress with President Trump to extend them, to allow him to use what he believes is one of the most important levers of his administration, not just to bring trillions of dollars here, but to strengthen our national security around the globe?
And this is great. This is why we should all watch more Newsmax. They're actually holding people accountable, asking adult questions. Like, Nancy Mace just keeps blinking like she's a Nancy bot and her brain is on the fritz. The whole conversation is just a lose, lose, lose. It's obvious to see tariffs have not done much for the general economy, except make business harder to do and have consumers pick up the price. But it's great. She also twists the knife and she's like, well, the Supreme Court ruled against you guys and you only have a limited amount of time. It's almost like she just says, so you guys really suck. So what are you going to do next?
I have always supported President Trump's agenda, and it is the responsibility of Congress to implement his agenda. I think one of the important things is that we learned about Section 122, 302, and 232 and what the president's powers are with regards to tariffs, and he can utilize those now. But it will be up to Congress to fulfill his agenda, and there's a lot more to it, just not tariffs. There's more that we can do to codify every single executive order in his mission in his second term.
So yeah, that wasn't a politician dodging a question at all. No, that wasn't.
You know, JPMorgan closed more than 50 Trump-related accounts in 2021. They said over legal and regulatory risk after January 6. But it did maintain a years-long banking relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, reportedly processing more than $1 billion in transactions. When you talk about the accountability for victims, how much does following the money matter, as well as there are a lot of questions about the powerful who are still out there? And we've seen some arrests in the UK, but obviously the high-profile arrests have not really come to fruition here, Congressman Mace.
Right. The United States is behind when it comes to any sex trafficking crimes, financial crimes, and other crimes that may have involved Jeffrey Epstein. I think JPMorgan has a lot of explaining to do. They did this to the president of the United States, and they can do it to him. They can do it to anybody. And yet they were doing business with a convicted pedophile.
And so again, it's just so interesting. She wants JPMorgan to be held accountable, but she doesn't care about the Trump administration not releasing all the files or not releasing the communications that they were by law supposed to release, as the bill that she voted in requires the administration to do. She's okay with one cover-up, but not okay with the other. Again, just another day in the life of the dumpster fire.
I mean, you just have to let that sink in and see how sick and twisted some on the left are regarding this. I would like to see us prosecute people. I want to see people go to jail. And the Epstein saga doesn't die down until people are in prison, until they are indicted, until we do like the UK is doing and hold those accountable, regardless of their title, regardless of who they are, how much money they have. We have to have some accountability in this country.
And that brings us to our next story about files that could be potentially being withheld, and in turn, breaking the law.
Is the Department of Justice breaking the law? New reporting confirmed by MS Now shows key Epstein documents have been withheld, including at least 3 FBI interviews with a woman who accused Donald Trump of sexual assault when she was between 13 and 15 years old. Donald Trump has always denied any wrongdoing. Roughly 3 million files have so far not been released. The department says they were duplicates or unrelated. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said the DOJ has complied with the law, insisting they did not protect Donald Trump. Is any of that believable? Epstein survivors, who will be in the audience tonight at Donald Trump's State of the Union, are still demanding full transparency, arguing even before today that they have not gotten it.
Wow, I'll be tuning in for that. But what a legacy to have, to be Nancy Mace, to want to be associated with a dumpster fire known as the Republican Party. And not only that, but to want to be tied to Donald Trump, one of Jeffrey Epstein's good friends. Desperation will make you do crazy things.
Leopards are eating my face.